Darius Gray here back here for another video, and this time I'm here with my non-spoiler review of the Fantastic Four First Step. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this non-spoiler. I have some thoughts written down on the old cell phone here, but my initial thoughts on the movie, right? It had a lot of hype going into this thing. I was very hyped myself. Like with each trailer, as we got closer and closer to this day, I just got more and more excited for the movie. It was just like, I feel like this is going to be really good. This is going to be something great. And I think it was. I think it was great. By every metric, dude, watching this movie, I feel like a lot of MCU movies these past few phases, right, have had the same sort of issues. Like the worst, MCU movies, the lackluster ones, the meh ones, they all kind of felt like they were made by committee. They kind of just felt like, especially like the Marvels, for example, feels like it was made by a committee, that someone put something into ChatGPT and say, make me a movie. What will we do? What kind of funny stuff can we put in here? Like, just, there you go, right? A lot of movies, even Captain America Brave New World, which I personally like. It's not great, though. It's very much a Frankenstein's monster movie of, oh God, we really need to, stop and turn this around. Let's do that and stitch that together, and there you go. This felt like a complete movie. This felt like a movie that they had a vision. It felt like, I don't even know how many reshoots they did for this film. I think there's one scene in particular I know was from reshoots because I saw set photos. But this movie, more than a lot of MCU movies during the multiverse saga, it feels like they had a plan and they stuck to that plan, that they knew exactly what they were doing, they knew exactly what they wanted, and they stuck to it all the way through, right? This is like one of the more complete feeling MCU films from top to bottom, from, writing to, production design, the VFX, even though some of the VFX, some of the special effects on Reed, when it comes to stretching, effects will never be perfect. It will never look great. Stretching is just a thing with it, man. It's a very difficult thing. God bless DC whenever they do like Plastic Man or Elongated Man, because it's probably not going to look great either. But pretty much the total package of this film, it really felt like they had a lock on things. This didn't feel like it was a rushed job. It didn't feel like they just threw stuff at the wall to see what stuck. Nah, they knew exactly what they were doing, and I can happily report that we finally have ourselves a definitive Fantastic Four film, a great Fantastic Four film. I love those first two movies. Yeah, that includes Rise of the Silver Surfer, thank you. There are way worse movies, comic book movies, that have come out of the past few years, okay? Madam Web, Craven, Morbius, damn, all the Sony Spider-Man stuff. But, those first two movies are fun. They're not great movies. They're not great made, written movies, but they're very fun, and I love them. They get a lot of the chemistry right there. But this movie, in totality, surpasses those two. Definitely surpasses Fan Four Stick, that piece of trash. This is the definitive Fantastic Four film that we've all been waiting for, and I can happily say that. And in my notes here, I'm gonna just go down each of the four. I'll touch on Surfer and Galactus a little bit, but we're going to start with Reed Richards, right? The little note I have here for Reed Richards, it took a while to see past Pedro Pascal. It took maybe a good 15, 30 minutes or so for me to be like there were little spots in that first 15, 30 minutes where I'm like, I see Reed there, but it's still a whole lot of Pedro. But after that point, Pedro rather, like, that's how much I think he did a good job as Reed. Pedro melted away, and there was just Reed Richards. I think he did a great job. I think, and I'm gonna compare them to the old ones as I'm doing this. In comparison to Yoan Grufford, I think Pedro perfected the tortured, not artist, but tortured scientist, tortured genius of Reed Richards, and that, a lot of times Reed Richards gets bombarded, he gets overwhelmed by the fact that, yes, he's the smartest man alive, but some problems stump him. Some things he just can't figure out a scientific way out of, and we see that in this film with Galactus showing up. Like, it gets to a point where throughout the film, Reed's just like, I don't know. Like it says in the trailer when they ask, "Are we safe?" I don't know. Like he's writing out equations. Like, okay, what can we do to fix this? And he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to fix this. I'm supposed to know. I think at one point he even says something to that effect that like I'm supposed to know how to do this, and I don't know. And I think that was great. That's the side of Reed Richards that we did not get in the previous version. Although I would say Ioan Gruffudd perfected the aloofness, him being so captivated by science that he just sort of misses what's going on over there. I think Ioan perfected that, and I think if you take him and you take Pedro, you fusion them, you get the ideal, you get the perfect Reed Richards. But Pedro as Reed gets a thumbs up from me. Sue Storm, I wrote it down here. 10 out of 10, no notes. The definitive version of Sue Storm. She was truly, I mean, God bless Jessica Alba, but they really didn't give her a whole lot in those movies. And a lot of the times they just want to see her naked. But Vanessa Kirby, this is weird because before Vanessa was cast, or when she was cast, I was just like, I don't see Sue Storm from her. I see more like Emma Frost, that type of character for her. I don't see the matriarch Sue Storm, the motherly, person. And I'll shut the heck up. I'll eat crow on this one. She is the definitive version of Sue Storm. She is the matriarch of the Fantastic Four. I thought she did a bang up job. She did a great job. Loved her in this movie. Johnny, I owe Joseph Quinn an apology because similarly to Vanessa before or when he was cast, I didn't have too big of thoughts. I was like, okay, because I hadn't seen Stranger Things at that point, so I was just like, okay, I don't know. Let me see what this guy can do. When the first trailers came out, I was just like, I'm not getting Johnny from him. And then one of the last trailers, when they did the whole, what time has it been? What time has it been? That trailer, that one, at that point, I was just like, oh, I think I'm locked in. I think I'm sold on Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. And lo and behold, he did a great job in this film. I still prefer Chris Evans. Chris Evans was much more fun as Johnny Storm, but this one was a more developed character. He wasn't like just a womanizing guy, and not to say that Chris Evans was either, because he did have little character arcs in those first two movies in terms of him becoming more serious, taking situations more serious. Not everything's a game. That type of arc. But this Johnny had more to do. Like he was very much involved in moving a certain aspect of the story along. And while Reed is trying to solve something, Johnny himself is trying to solve something, showing that he's not just, the hothead, he's not just the show off, right? That's the word I'm looking for. He's not just the show off. Like he has things to contribute to the team. So I thought Joseph Quinn, again, I think it's another situation. Take Chris Evans, take Joseph Quinn, fusion dance, perfect Johnny Storm. But I really enjoyed him. Like I said, he had more depth. And here's the weirdest part. I was the most sold on Eben Moss Backrack as the Thing because I had watched The Bear. I'm like, oh, I can definitely see some Cousin Richie in Ben Grimm. But I came away with this movie, I think Ben was the weakest part because they didn't give him a lot. He was very docile in this movie. He had the least to do. Reed is trying to solve, how do we, save the world from Galactus? Sue is dealing with, I'm a mother, I got Franklin. Johnny is on his own quest with like Silver Surfer. There's some stuff that goes on there. Ben doesn't really have that. Like, he has this little moment where like, oh, there might be, a girlfriend for him, maybe, but they don't really expand on that. It's just a whole lot of him just like looking, just like looking at her, watching her, just like, yeah, I could have that. Anyway, moving on. It's very different from the first film in which Ben was the emotional core of that film. Reed trying to get Ben turning back to normal because he lost his wife and stuff and feeling bad for him because of that. But Ben in this film didn't he didn't do it for me. I won't say he didn't do it for me because it was a good Ben Grimm, but it wasn't great. He was way too docile for me. The look wise, perfect, obviously, but like I can't imagine this Ben squaring up against the Hulk. Like there's just that in terms of the personalities, like it doesn't feel like something that would naturally happen. Like them having that rivalry in the comics. But yeah, I definitely need to see more from him. Hopefully, it's weird. Hopefully, in the hands of the Russos, Ben Grimm's a bit better, which is scary to say because in the hands of the Russos, Hulk got messed up. They did him dirty. So maybe they'll do the opposite with old Ben here. And I'm not gonna. Well, he's gonna say the thing. I'm not even gonna go there. Silver Surfer, I thought was pretty good. I liked Shalabal, that version of Silver Surfer. Julia Gardner did a pretty good job there. Kind of has the same amount of depth, maybe even more than the original version. Although the original version, a whole lot more aura farming. This one did not do too much aura farming. The whole slow-mo, him coming out the building or him going upside down and flying, looking at Johnny. Like, those type of moments don't happen in this film. But they definitely touch on a lot of the stories, with Silver Surfer being the herald of Galactus, typically Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer, he doesn't enjoy what he's doing, and we definitely get an insight into that with this one. Galactus was great. He looked great because it was an actual suit Ralph Ineson was wearing, which was awesome. His voice, perfect as Galactus, and like just the overall look. I mean, I maintain that you couldn't get away with this in 2007, especially where CGI was at that time. I do not think they could have pulled off this Galactus back then. Is that an excuse to make him a cloud? Maybe not, but I kind of see why they didn't do this. But now that we're at this point in 2025 with special effects, with comic book films where we can more so accept the the wild, zany, I combine the words there, the wild and zany comic book images and stuff. Like we can accept that more now. Perfect. 10 out of 10. No notes. Ralph Ineson is great. Hopefully when we get a new Galactus in the the Sacred Timeline, the 616 universe, it should just be him again. Cuz he knocked out the park. So that's my thoughts on the main characters. I thought the pace was good, story, the writing, the action was really good. I will say that the third act, I had heard before that people had issues with the third act. I don't have issues with the third act as a whole, but there is a single point, a moment that happens in the third act that I know a certain subsection of people will overblow and they will cry woke and they will have their YouTube thumbnails. I'm not going to do that. However, what happens, it did make me pause. I didn't like it. I had a problem with it. I was just like, yeah, right. I don't buy that. And I'll leave it at that. Although, like, a buddy of mine kind of explained it in hindsight of why, like, it's considering what happened afterwards. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave that for the spoiler stuff. I'll probably do another spoiler video when I see it again Saturday. But I think this film is great. I love it. Definitely going to see it again. Is it a top 10 MCU? I got to think on it. It might not be top 10. It might be like 11. But like that's still really good. Also stay for the post-credit scenes. Really just the first one. The second one is one of the kind of throwaway ones. But that first one, I got off social media because I heard that it leaked. I did not want to hear about it. I did not want to see it. I didn't want to know anything what it was. And if you can, try not to get spoiled. Stay for that first post-credit scene because it is important. And I mean, you probably already have ideas of what it is. I'm not going to confirm nor deny what it is. But, it's important for things to come. Anyway, grading time. I will give this Fantastic Four film a 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, 4.5 out of 5 there. Really, really good. Oh, the MCU. The MCU's back. People have been saying the MCU's back since, like, Guardians Volume 3. People were saying, oh, man, MCU's back. All right. What came out next? Like Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, the MCU's back. Thunderbolts. Oh, the MCU's back. And now we're at the Fantastic Four. Oh, the MCU is back. Can we just stop that? Can we just kill that phrase, please? I definitely think we have the potential, if we count from Thunderbolts to this movie, the Fantastic Four, and you got Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars. I don't know if there's anything else in between that, but like just those movies, that lineup, if the quality persists, we're back in the upswing, boys. I'll say that much. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Have you seen the Fantastic Four? Will you be going to see it? If you have seen it, drop your rating in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like in the video. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any new upload. And of course, man, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.